my sister was dealing with things, and so she couldn't do anything. She was stuck in bed a lot of the time. We went to the beach the first few days before her getting sick like really hit her. But
she got sick.
Yeah.
Oh, she's pregnant.
Right? That's what it was.
Right.
But like like there was so she went to the first ultrasound and there was no heartbeat. So there hasn't been a heartbeat. So she was bleeding out the time while I was there. Losing the baby while I was there. That's the tea. So she couldn't do anything. She was just in bed, and the one night she was like having it pass through. She was sobbing, having meltdowns, and the baby is like crying, and I'm like calling my ex.
Oh God. Oh my God.
Not good. So yeah. Oh. Yeah. Oh. That's what I mean by good and bad. Beach was good, but
I'm happy that the beach was good. That is fucking wild that she was losing her baby while you were over there.
Yeah.
And like, I'm sure just emotionally in just shambles, like just shattered.
I was losing it. She was losing it. Yeah.
And tell me about the talking to the ex thing while her baby was dying, or the baby was dead.
Yeah. Well, she had been bleeding like the whole weekend on her birthday. She bled on her birthday. That's when it started. And so, yeah, it was really shitty. But it had already been happening, and I was talking to her a lot about it, helping her a lot with the baby as much as I could because her husband was still working. But he ended up taking work off and just taking like the rest of the week off so that he could be there when it happens, whenever it did happen. And I was basically losing it. So I was taking on everything that was going on with them. Things are going on at home. They're talking about each other, but they're like, oh, but don't tell them. I'm in the middle of everything. And then she's dealing with this. I'm absorbing, the sadness and all of that, dealing with the baby as well. And then all of these emotions start coming up about fall and the holidays. And I'm like, not now. Like, I do not need that depression right now. But it happened. I went to a pumpkin patch, and my sister said that I was just really sad. And I was just really sad because I felt alone. I was there with her, my brother-in-law, and my niece. And I love them. And it's so fun. But I was like sad because I felt alone. I was like, they have a family, but I don't. Even though we are family, but I don't know. The holidays are really hard, and there was an inner child in me. So me and my ex had already started talking before I went to Hawaii. So I just was like, can I call you? And we had a long conversation. It was pretty bad. It was like an hour, tears, yelling, whatever. And meanwhile, my sister is like in and out of the bathroom because
her baby's dead in her stomach and she's bleeding it out.
Yeah.
And you're screaming and crying on the phone.
Outside, though. I was outside. And her husband was taking care of her.
Oh my God.
So, yeah, all that chaos just in one area. And then the baby wakes up and she's like screaming. She doesn't just like wake up. My sister says she kind of thinks the baby felt something because she like woke up screaming. Like mad. So it was
like blood curdling. So you're
like she had a nightmare.
Yelling and crying on the phone, and the baby's crying and yelling. And the baby in her stomach is bleeding out and dead. And this is like more gnarly than the Spanish soap operas that my mom watches.
It's just my fucking life, man. It's just my life.
You Last episode, I asked you how you were doing. And basically...
That's not even all of it.
And the first time I've ever really got the response was like, oh, I'm good.
Yeah.
That was the last podcast. Oh, how are you doing? How's everything going? Oh, good. Like, what? Word? It's good?
What?
And then now what? Fast forward to this episode, and it's like...
That's all you need.
It's the most gnarly shit.
Yeah.
Like, more gnarly than fucking soap operas.
Yeah. I kind of got to the point where, you know, they say God gives his hardest battles to his strongest soldiers, whatever, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got to the point where I was just like, okay, but what if, like, you get to the point where you just don't even give a fuck anymore? You're just, like, over it. You don't get anything from it. You don't learn anything from it because you're just tired of learning the same shit and dealing with hard shit over and over, and you don't want to do it anymore.
It's like, yo, I learned it.
I'm like,
I already fucking learned it. So what are we
over
doing?
Well, yeah,
It's learnt. I know it.
apparently not. So,
God damn.
yeah, more boy stuff in between. Yeah. But I don't know. I think I like if it's just the life of a Pisces, like I hear that they go through a lot of stuff, or I don't know. I really don't. I don't know.
God.
I just color and read.
It's good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, well, I don't even know what to tell you.
That's what my therapist
What the fuck
says.
say? What the fuck
That's
you say?
what my therapist says to me, bro. He's like, to be honest, I don't know what to say other than like, I'm sorry.
It's your fucking job to tell me good. Like, it's your job to fucking be good at, like, telling me shit when I say fucking crazy shit.
Doesn't even have words.
He didn't have words for it. I mean, it's the only things that you say would be just stupid cliches, really.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's all I hear. So,
There's nothing else.
yeah. Yeah.
Be positive.
No. No. That's not it. Get drunk. That's
Get
what I
drunk
do.
a lot.
That's what I do.
Positive attitude. No. Okay. Get drunk all the time.
Not all the time.
Well, when you can.
Occasionally.
Occasionally.
Yeah.
Weekly. Occasionally. Every
Weekly's
week.
too much. But sometimes.
Yeah.
If you gotta.
And
Still.
any, like, do they know why the baby died? It's not really something that...
So, yeah, my sister thinks, like, it just was never a, what's the word? Volatile pregnancy. With her first, she took, I think the first one wasn't, I don't know. She took multiple to be, wait. The first one, yeah, she took a pregnancy test for the first one, came back positive. She was happy. She wasn't expecting it so soon, but they were planning for it already. And so she was happy. They were happy about it. And then the second one, she takes a pregnancy test, and then she takes another one because she doesn't believe it. And then she takes another one because she doesn't believe that one. And then she takes another one because she doesn't believe that one. So from the beginning, she didn't think it was like a set pregnancy. It just didn't feel like, you know, the mother knows. So she kind of thought, okay, maybe it's a boy, because she heard girls and boys feel different. And she immediately felt Katrina, my niece, her spirit, as soon as she got pregnant. Like, she immediately felt it. And she said with this one, like, she hasn't felt anything. Like, she couldn't believe that she was pregnant. She's like, after the 4 pregnancy tests, she's like, I don't really know for sure until I go in to the doctor. But she had kind of already started telling people a little bit. So she goes into the doctor, and there's no heartbeat. And the baby is measuring like a few weeks behind, several weeks behind. And so, okay, whatever, we'll check next time. Some time goes on and then she starts bleeding. Well, I get there and like the next day she starts bleeding. And I'm like, what the fuck? So she has her appointment in a few days. She's bleeding throughout that time and then goes to her appointment, still no heartbeat, and the baby hasn't grown at all. So basically it never grew into a fetus. It was just like a fertilized egg, basically. It was measuring at like 6 weeks, and she was 8 weeks, 9 weeks almost supposed to be. So yeah, she feels like it could have just been like, weird way to say it, but like pre-cum. I don't know if that's possible, or just like dead sperm cell or something, so that it got fertilized, but it just didn't grow into anything.
It's good that it happened that early, though. I imagine it like being kind of formed like 6 months down the line.
You think that's crazy? Her best friend, so when I was there in March, her best friend took a pregnancy test, was positive. A few weeks later, she lost the baby. When I was there, her best friend was pregnant, and we saw her. She found out the gender of the baby. And then after Bree lost the baby, within 1 or 2 days, so does her friend. Loses her baby.
What the fuck is going on?
Isn't that crazy? My sister made a joke that the babies were like, oh, you're not coming down right now? Okay, me neither. Let's go. Okay, well,
we're out.
But yeah, I mean, she has some, I can't talk about it here, but she had the Johnson & Johnson, which, was it recalled?
Yes.
Okay, so it was. She had that.
The friend?
Yes.
Had the recalled, you know what?
Yeah, which has absolutely nothing to do with what happened to her.
It never would.
But
and she's had 2 miscarriages.
She's gotten the boosters also. And yes, she has
2 miscarriages.
Yeah, but it has nothing to do with
the boosters. Nothing. That's right. It's all the most safe shit.
Right, but it was recalled. That is true.
That's true. It was recalled.
That is true. Yeah. So she did have that, regardless of whatever caused it. She did have that.
And she's not able to have kids yet.
Yeah.
She's failed both times that it happened.
It happened.
It died immediately.
Yeah, unsuccessful.
Yeah.
And this one, she was even telling my sister that it has, I forget the name of the disease. It starts with a T, but basically it only has like one of the XY chromosomes. Science is my weakness. Like, I don't know shit.
Yeah.
Basically, it would have been born with like a defect. Nothing crazy. But my sister was reading on it, and basically the majority of the pregnancies that have this syndrome or disease, whatever, don't carry out. So